Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a team of special agents, preparing to sneak into a laboratory where illegal substances are produced. On the way, the commander states there will be 8 armed criminals, and shortly they arrive at the destination. As soon as they get inside, the agents start shooting at the armed people. However, in the midst of the shooting, a criminal shoots an officer, and manages to escape outside. Here, he kills another officer, and continues to escape. The criminal is then chased by an officer named Michael. The criminal runs out of the courtyard of the house, and finds a girl he intends to take hostage. Fortunately, Officer Michael arrives in time, and fires 2 bullets at the criminal. But unfortunately, 1 bullet penetrates the criminal's body and hits the little girl as well. Michael approaches the girl, and urgently calls a doctor. Later in the shower, we see Michael still unable to overcome this difficult moment. Next, a work colleague arrives to inform him, Michael's brother David is in trouble, and needs help. David is part of a criminal group, and Michael is tired of always bailing him out of trouble. Soon, the commander arrives, and tells everyone that the mission was successful, and the lab was destroyed. When Michael asks if the little girl survived, the commander sadly states that she did not make it. While Michael is training in the boxing room, David approaches him and asks to talk. Michael is not happy to see his brother, since he always causes trouble, but he agrees to talk to him later. In the evening, David tells him he intends to get married to a woman he is in love with. But to do so, she has asked him to leave the criminal life. However, it is not so easy to leave a criminal gang once you are in it. Michael agrees to help him, and advises him to come live with him. Meanwhile, a thug is watching Michael and David from a distance, and calls someone to say they have a problem. Later at night, David is called to Anthony, by another member of the criminal group. Anthony asks him to come and help him with a job, and he will receive $5,000. Anthony and David meet, but suddenly, 3 cars hidden in the darkness turn on their headlights. All the members of the criminal group approach and surround David. Elias, the leader, claims that he has been discovered talking to a policeman. David claims that Michael is only his brother. However, he confesses that he wants to leave the criminal group. Elias tells him that he knows too much about them, and it would not be smart to let him go. However, he plays a game, and tells him that if he survives the attacks of the whole group, he can leave. Soon, the men surround David and start beating him violently. However, David stands up. Elias tells him to run away, but when David turns around, a guy named Zed grabs his gun, and kills him. Michael is informed of his brother's death. The next day, Michael goes to the crime scene, where David's dead body had been found. Investigators state that David was most likely killed by a criminal group. Michael's friend researches the tattoos that gang members have, and asks him if he recognizes at least one of them. He discovers a familiar tattoo, and it turns out to be the gang located in their town. Then Michael asks him to research the gun that the criminals used to kill David, and calls the investigators to see where they are with the case, but receives no updates. Next, he goes to visit Detective Hardwick, who is in charge of David's case, and discovers the detective has dismissed David's case, as he does not consider it useful to waste time finding out who killed a criminal. Hardwick considers the bad guys have done the dirty work for them. Michael insults him and is about to leave, but Hardwick stops him, and punches him in the face. Subsequently, Michael is tortured and tasered to the ground. He wakes up in a cell, and Hardwick comes to see if he has calmed down. He then frees him, but does not give him his badge or gun. Soon, he meets with his colleague, who informs him that a person with great authority at the state level may be involved in David's death. Michael thanks him for his help, and leaves. At night, he has a series of nightmares about his brother's death. Later, he goes to a tattoo parlor to get a tattoo. He also gets the gang tattoo his brother had. The next day, Michael rents a room in an inexpensive motel, in a dangerous neighborhood. He roams the streets at night, and is chased by a gang of men. The thugs tell him that he is on their turf, and a fight breaks out. Michael violently beats all the gang members with a baseball bat. Elsewhere, Elias is watching a game between his girls, when someone knocks on the door. A gang member who Michael beat up complains to Elias that a man with their gang tattoo has attacked them. Elias orders them to find him and bring to him. In the meantime, Michael calls his colleague, Billy, and asks him to look for information about Elias and his gang. Billy agrees to help him, and Michael tells him he will contact soon. One evening, Anthony finds Michael, and tells him that he has a job for him. Michael acts as if he is already part of the gang, and gets into the car. Anthony orders him to beat up a policeman, as a test to join the gang. However, he is certain that Michael will not make it, and will be caught. Out of the police station comes Detective Hardwick, and Michael beats him up and steals his gun. He then returns to Anthony and drives away. Over the next few days, Michael earns Anthony's trust, helping him with various jobs for the gang. One night, Anthony tells him Elias wants to meet him. Michael is taken to Elias, where he answers a series of questions that only a gang member can know. Thanks to Billy's information, he is able to answer the questions, and finally, he is accepted into the gang. However, Elias tells him that there is one last test to earn his trust. Michael goes with Anthony to clean up the streets of some rival criminals. After beating up a rival gang, the two stop to enjoy a beer. Suddenly, a car is approaching them, and Michael notices a guy with a gun, and saves Anthony's life, warning him just in time. Moving on to a mob boss, named Arturo, who asks about Michael's background. Elsewhere, Anthony argues with his pregnant sister, because she insists he give her a fix. Anthony wants his sister to think about the baby, and change her lifestyle, but she won't listen to him. Soon, Michael arrives, and notices on her hand the ring that David gave her. Michael is brought to Elias, who names him general of the band, because of his performance. Elias informs him that they are to attack a rival lab in the evening, and Michael will give the commands. They arrive at the lab, and sneak inside. Michael finds the leader of the lab, and after beating him, tells him that he now belongs to their gang. Michael also gets to know a girl in the group, Anya, more closely. Anya has been watching him for a long time, but she didn't want to let him near her. However, she lets her guard down, and the two spend the night together. The next morning, while Michael sleeps, she administers him something with droppers. Later, Billy calls him, and informs that the FBI is also on the trail of their gang, so he is in a risky position. Billy advises him to leave all this behind, and become an agent again. However, Michael tells him he must finish what he started, and take revenge for his brother's death. Later in the day, he goes to meet Gloria, his brother's widowed wife. He confesses David was his brother, and just wanted to help her escape from this place. However, Gloria is furious with him, because his gang killed the only person she loved. Later, Anthony finds Michael, and tells him that Elias wants to talk to him again. Elias informs him how their business works. The mafia boss, Arturo, controls South America, while he and Zed control North America. Elias tells him that tomorrow there will be a duel between their generals, and the winner will take control of the business on both continents. Elias wants Michael to fight Arthur's general, and if he wins, he promises him riches he never imagined. However, if he loses, they will have to work for Arturo for the rest of their lives. Elias is sure that Michael will win, who is happy to represent their gang. Some time later, Anthony calls Michael, and says Gloria informed him what they talked about yesterday. He states that she wants his help to leave this place, and Michael agrees to meet them in a little while. When he goes to see them, he asks Anthony about his loyalty to Elias, and he responds saying non-loyal members are killed. Apparently, Michael also wants to help Anthony leave this criminal world. When Michael returns to the motel, Anya visits him, and reveals she knows he is a policeman. Then Anya reveals she is an undercover agent, who has been working with the gang for a long time, with the goal of catching Zed. When she learns that Michael is working alone, she tells him that he risks ruining everything. The next day is the day of the fight, Michael against Arthur's general. Anya tells him to win this duel, but to wait for her signal. Meanwhile, Zed and Elias meet Arturo. The mafia boss gives strange speeches, and is confident that his general will win the fight. Soon, a guy brings Michael a suit to fight in, but he refuses to wear it. Anthony also arrives, and tells him that he needs to visit his sister. Meanwhile, everyone begins to prepare for the fight. Arthur then announces the arrival of his general, Hector. Suddenly, a man visibly larger than Michael appears in the crowd. However, Michael does not seem intimidated at all. Hector wears a helmet and warrior clothes, which makes him less agile, but his blows still manage to knock Michael out. Hector gets up and manages to hit him a couple of times. At this point, Hector takes off his helmet, and starts getting serious. Michael tries to block his blows, but Hector's strength knocks his guard off. Then Hector hits him hard in the stomach, causing him to collapse to the ground. However, he gets up seconds later, pushes Hector to the ground, and hits him repeatedly in the face. Finally, Michael grabs onto a chain, and chokes Hector with his legs. Arturo recognizes that he is lost, and leaves. Soon, Michael tries to stop Zed, but it turns out that he and Elias knew he was a policeman. Zed abducts Gloria, and leaves, while Michael takes a motorcycle, and follows them. In the process, police enter the building, and arrest Elias. Michael approaches on his motorcycle, and climbs onto the roof of the car. Zed aggressively turns the steering wheel to drop Michael, but the car flips over. Michael pulls Gloria out of the car, but discovers Zed pointing a gun at him. Suddenly, Anya shoots Zed, saving the two. Michael promises Gloria he will take care of her. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.